Welcome to the AI Ireland podcast, your window into the world of AI innovation on the island of Ireland. Join us as we explore how AI is harnessed to tackle both business and societal challenges, revealing the cutting-edge solutions emerging from this vibrant AI community. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and insights in the world of AI. Welcome to the podcast today. I'm very happy to have Nancy Rademaker. Nancy has been a keynote speaker in the world of digital transformation and AI technologies over the last 8 years. Before that, she'd been working in business and working very closely with senior decision makers, helping to solve the customer dilemma in terms of having better experiences and outcomes, while also making sure that you've got that authentic feel. Nancy, very good to have you on the show today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
So Nancy, you've been working in business for years before you were an international keynote speaker, and you get to do a lot of different presentations day to day and talk to a variety of different audiences. And in Dublin, you're at TalentCon speaking about AI and speaking about customer experience and to kind of removing the fear about it and also kind of embracing it. But you kind of got some important points to note, which you're going to be sharing with the audience today, which I'd like to delve into a little bit more detail if you could.
So I always start out by outlining that we are in this fast changing world. And of course, it's changing in an exponential way because technology by nature is exponential. This is basically also what creates the tension because we humans are set to linear thinking versus exponential thinking. So that's why most of us do not see disruption coming, by the way, when it's there. And we've experienced this with AI, I think, massively. So over the past 2 years, with generative AI and ChatGPT in particular, it's kind of struck the world as AI is there. It's been there for a long time already, but now everybody's finally seeing it. And what I always like to point out is that technology has really changed our world and will continue to do so exponentially in the near future, but it also has changed us as humans. So I would like to elaborate on characteristics of us as humans that have changed or have become more prominent or are completely new. And I always like to talk about the 5 I's. So we've become much more informed. We've become much more individualistic, impatient, intuitive, and influenced. And so in my talks, I always like to point out these characteristics and how companies need to take them into account and use them, do things that are related to those characteristics, use them to provide a better customer experience. So, for example, because we're so informed, you need to be very transparent as a company. Transparent in security, so where you store my data, in privacy, how you use my data, but also in pricing, how you come up with your fees. And because we're individualistic, it needs to be all about personalization. We don't like a one size fits all anymore. And because we're so impatient, for example, it's all about convenience and speed. We are used to having everything now. And those are things that companies need to take into account when designing their new customer experience, I think.
Yeah, and it's, as you rightly said, we've all started to get used to the phrase of AI, and I've been in the world of AI for the last 6 years, but I've known about it for the last 17 years. But when ChatGPT came to town, within 2 months you had 100 million users. So you had a technology that's been going arguably since the 1940s, if not before then, to an interface where you've got a case study to take advantage of that, either generating content, creating images through DALL-E, getting a feedback analysis, you name it. There's 67,500 AI companies now. I did a recent Google search on that. I'm guessing by the time our call finishes, there'll be some more within that side of it. So everyone from a board level is strategically guiding people to say, we need an AI offering. We need to say we're doing this in AI. But there is the challenge, though, that if you've got these really nice human interactions and then suddenly you want to try to automate them, you're creating a problem that doesn't necessarily need to be solved.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, so what I wanted to point out on that is as follows. whenever I talk to people in businesses about AI, it is now becoming equal to ChatGPT, which of course it's not. AI is a much more generalistic term, and many people that I talk to, they are thinking of use cases where they can apply like ChatGPT, but they forget about all the other stuff. Machine learning is part of AI as well. Of course, deep learning and neural networks are as well. You can do so much more with AI than just having let's say, the chat with ChatGPT. I think this is what we need to be mindful of. And then there's many use cases that are now appearing that people think, oh my, but that's what I usually do as a job or as part of my job. And so that's also the reason for the fear that people have about the technology, being afraid that it's going to, make them lose their jobs.
Yeah, and from a media perspective, that's a narrative they like to share, right?
Yep.
From a general purpose point of view, people will understand ChatGPT because they've used it, or maybe Netflix from the recommendation engines that we're all comfortable with, or Amazon when we're making a purchase. But as you rightly said, these technologies with generative AI are probably not fit for purpose for some of the work that we want to do, or automation, or other old AI that could be more applied to us. So it's trying to get that information correctly positioned to allow people to have insights that they can feel better about the whole pie rather than just looking at a specific area. And usually with insights, you start to feel more comfortable with change.
Yeah, that's exactly true. And also the realization that you will not, competition is not coming from AI itself. Competition is coming from others using AI versus maybe you not using it. And so I always say that, it's not man versus machine. I think it's man with machine. And this is something that we need to figure out in the near future. In my view, we will not be replaced. We will be promoted, so to speak. So the right combination of man and machine will probably not create perfection, but it will help both of us get better. So instead of AI, like artificial intelligence, I always say it's IA, intelligence augmented. It's technology augmenting our human creativity, as I think it was Satya Nadella who said that. So this is something that people need to realize, that it's not going to fully replace you, but it's going to change how you do your work. And for me, if you look at most of the tasks that it can help you with, those are not the tasks that you get loads of energy from anyway. So it's good to have something help you out with that.
Yeah, and I think it's been nicely put that it's the co-pilot. So it's still a human in the loop, and the
Exactly.
human signs off on the task. And because I think for people to think you can just put AI and AI to manage that, we've seen, examples from corporations that have put a chatbot as an example, or virtual agent in charge of some important tasks, and the detrimental impact to their brand was so big that the 99 other case studies where they effectively used AI were put to the side because of this negative aspect. And what we've seen from our research is that companies are keen to use AI tools and AI case studies internally within the organization, helping retrieve documents or customization, summarization, email summarization, but externally facing, they're more hesitant because of them going rogue, or worries or concerns about data, and kind of putting these on ice. However, I'm not sure about you, but I feel that 2024 is where companies are starting to place their bets now, do some different types of research projects, and then hoping to put them into production, because there's a real fear of missing out, but also they're not quite sure where to start.
Yes, and I think it also has to do with the fact that if you use, for example, ChatGPT, which is like, it's open AI, literally, it's based, it's a generalistic LLM, right? Large language model. If companies start using their own data as a basis for, building their own large language models, it's going to be much more their proprietary answers that chatbots, for example, will be giving, not the generalistic ones, and it will feel more natural for the customers as well. And I do think, on the other hand, if you look at Gen AI generating content for you, I think there's still, at this moment in time, the need for humans to really look at it and determine, like signing off, as you said, this is the right tonality of a message that we put forward to our customers, and not just take it for granted that the GPT will do it right. So for now, I think there's this really nice co-working between humans and AI necessary. And I think it's going to remain like that. I think it will be on different levels in the future. But as you mentioned, I love the word co-pilot, because it actually, refers to the fact that we are still in the driver's seat, but we have a co-pilot next to us. And I think some others call it companion, or I think that's exactly the right wording. But people don't view it like this currently. And that's, I think, what should be happening, and hopefully will be happening this year, where we actually embrace it as our companion, as our co-pilot.
Yeah, and we have the AI EU Act. I spoke with Dragos Todoris a couple of weeks ago, who helped drive through the AI Act in Europe. And now there's going to be this regulation that goes a lot further than GDPR, where companies need to get this right if you're buying or selling or using a product or service with AI. And as you mentioned about ChatGPT, we know from the research now that up to 30% of employees are shadow ChatGPT users, where they're using it without letting their employer know, with using sensitive data. Now, as a starting point, companies need to have an AI policy, even if it's just to set out the guidelines of what they can and can't do with ChatGPT, to make sure that this is effectively managed. And I use that as an example, just until people start to have different guardrails and being able to actually work effectively with it. So we see with the regulation, some people are very concerned that this will stifle innovation. Some people feel that this will bring it on. I personally feel that the Act is important because it allows companies to feel more peace of mind when they're actually investing in projects. They see that there's some types of code, and then it allows other countries to follow suit and get involved with this. I'm not sure your thoughts, if you think regulation and innovation is an important balance.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I think we should also be mindful of the fact, as you just said, sometimes it also stifles innovation, to be honest. So I know from the Dutch government, one of the ministers prohibited the use of ChatGPT for all government employees. So from the privacy perspective, or the GDPR perspective, I get it. I totally get it. On the other hand, banning people from using it, and the same goes for Copilot, by the way. Government bodies are allowed to use Microsoft technologies, but not Copilot. And I think that's a pity, because people are not able to get acquainted with it, educate themselves on it. So this balance is also kind of hard, because it might stifle innovation as well. It might prevent people from getting to know the technology and getting to experiment with it. So instead of banning it, I would say, make sure you very quickly have guardrails in place, where people are also confident that whilst they're experimenting, they're not doing anything wrong. And that I know is a tough thing to do, a tough thing to realize.
Exactly, and trying to have a balanced conversation, because you don't want to be left behind, and you also want to be able to get the pros and the cons of this. And Nancy Rademaker, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast today. It was great to hear your insights, and best of luck with your talk later on.
Thank you so much.
I'm really excited to unveil a new book, AI Unleashed, Navigating the AI Revolution as a Business Executive, which is now accessible to purchase on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. This publication is the fruit of half a decade's worth of meticulous research and high-level conversations with experts in the field, both in Ireland and globally. The book is particularly timely, featuring current discussions on AI governance in the European Union and North America. If you're aiming to grasp the full scope of AI, ready your enterprise for its transformative power, and utilize it to your advantage, this book is specifically crafted for you. It serves as a pragmatic guide, clarifying misconceptions and presenting real-world insights for leaders entering the AI sphere. The book covers an extensive array of subjects, from AI's role in diverse industries to generative AI applications, and provides guidance on avoiding typical missteps in AI initiatives, all supported by the most recent studies. Additionally, the book highlights case studies and applications that have earned accolades at AI awards throughout the years and emphasize top-notch AI utilization in Ireland. For executives, poly-architects, or technology aficionados seeking to make sense of the intricate world of AI, AI Unleashed, Navigating AI Revolution is your essential handbook. So it's now available on Amazon. This book furnishes you with the expertise and instruments required to deploy AI more effectively and ethically.